NU-11 Null
Sector Podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 8. No, fuck, yes, of the Null Sector Podcast, home of the vibes, shelter for the baseline enthusiasts, and hangout session for just about everyone in between. I am Null, also known as Jake, and let's fucking chill, dude. It is episode 8, by the way. I almost messed it up, but it is. Let me start my timer like I always forget to do so I can kind of track how long we're recording here, which is actually a stopwatch and not a timer, but anyway. So, first and foremost, our topic of the day, which is not a topic because this is just tradition, is our small talk update. All right. I have a confession to make, and this confession is not so much of a confession as just a truth, and I have a feeling a lot of you will agree with me. McDonald's steak is disgusting. It's bad. Did you guys hear about this? McDonald's came out with steak, which, if your first reaction when hearing McDonald's has steak now was, oh God, that was pretty much a correct reaction. I had to know. I had to try it. They brought bagels back. Apparently there used to be bagels for McDonald's. I don't eat McDonald's really that often. I like their breakfast on occasion. Side note, Burger King breakfast, dude. Burger King breakfast is fucking bussin', man. You got to try Burger King breakfast. You'll never hear me advocate for Burger King ever in any context, but Burger King breakfast? I actually heard this from the Distractible podcast from Mark Fishbach and friends. He mentioned that he was traveling one time with Amy, and they got, I don't remember exactly, something like they were staying somewhere and they woke up on a road trip and they're like, oh, we need some breakfast. They saw Burger King and they said, fuck it, let's try Burger King breakfast. And it was actually delicious. And ever since he said that, it's all I can think about. And like, I've been talking with my fiance over and over and over again about, we got to try Burger King breakfast one day. And we finally did it. Man, it was pretty damn good. I got their, I don't know what it's called, breakfast croissant sandwich that had every breakfast meat known to man on it with eggs and cheese. And then they have the French toast dipping sticks. Man, McDonald's, for those of you who are a little bit older nowadays, and by older, I don't mean actually old because your mid to late 20s is not old, god damn it. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, we actually had French toast dipping sticks at McDonald's. And those were like kind of my childhood. I have very fond memories linked to eating those in the very early morning when I didn't have sentience yet and was a child. But I've always loved those, and I've always wanted them back. We're so off topic. Not really, because there is no topic. It's small talk. But anyway, McDonald's steak is exactly what you would expect. It's not good. How can I describe this? It tastes like meat, but kind of like that irony meat flavor without any of the positive aspects of a meat. There's no umami. There's no char or sear whatsoever. Like, it's just like, it's this weird meat flavor. I can't describe it too well, but it's not good. And the steak is floppy, of course. It's a disaster. They serve it optionally with like some sauteed onions. It was okay to try, but I had to force myself to finish their steak McMuffin, I think is what I got. The bagels were okay. I tried like a McMuffin, but as a bagel. It's all right. I mean, it's a bagel. We're out here in Florida. Now, I don't live near Jack's Beach. I was over there for a while. But when I was in Jack's Beach, there was this place, and man, that bagel place is like, it's a small business. It's kind of in a bougie side of town, so they get a lot of like rich customers who come in, and they're one of the only few places that still exist that sell bagels or food really until they run out. There's not many places that do that nowadays. They open and they sell food until there is no more food. I wish I knew what it was called, because let me see, Jack's Beach bagels are us or some bagel. I typed bagels are sus. Yeah, bagels are us. I believe that's them. It's good, bro. They got some good fucking bagels. Their cheddar and jalapeno bagel. Their everything bagel. Their cream cheese. Fuck. Now I want some bagels. Anyway, that's about it for the small talk update. I don't got a lot going on that I need to talk about there. Content update, we got some shit going on. But, man, I'll be honest with you. There was no podcast this Monday, as you're probably aware, because it's coming out now. It was a little rough. I have been struggling to record this podcast. I've been struggling to do everything. It's been rough for me. I'm really trying to force myself to stay consistent, and struggling a little bit, but we're getting there. Don't brain empty. I forgot whatever I was going to say. Anyway, next topic, which isn't a topic yet again. It's content update. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, non-binary friends, all of the above and below, we have something for you. This is kind of cool for me because I've always wanted this to happen, but it hasn't up until this point, but it kind of has now. So the song that I have so far that's done the best is Tangent. That's probably not surprising. I've been talking about it kind of a lot. It's my newest song that I've actually released. I may have mentioned this before. I don't remember. I don't think I did. I submitted this to some playlists, actually. I was looking on, man, I've ranted about Reddit in the past, and about how sometimes good of a resource it can be, and other times it's just a cesspool. Anyway, there's this one Reddit called, I think it's music marketing or music marketing advice, something like that. Oh, also, you like my homemade iced coffee? This isn't technically it because we actually ran out today, but listen to my coffee. We finally did it. I've always wanted to make my own iced coffee. It actually turned out pretty good. We literally just used the cheapest pre-ground coffee grounds you can get at Walmart. We got a giant tub of it. I think it's Maxwell brand or something like that. It's the blue tub. Literally one of the cheapest brands you can get. Put it into a little grounds container. It's like a mesh, really fine mesh. Put it into a jug of water. Well, jug, more like pitcher. Let it sit for 12 hours in the fridge. And I mean, it was pretty good. I'm surprised. I'm impressed. I just drink it black usually for the iced coffee, but yeah. This one, not so much. This one, I had to improvise. When we don't have actual iced coffee ready, I brew hot coffee. I put in anything that I want to put into it, and then I chunk it into the freezer for 2 hours. Then I take it out, put some ice in it, and then I drink it. I have not had much success with cold brew options on coffee makers. Supposedly it's supposed to brew the coffee at a lower temperature, and you're supposed to run it over top ice, but I haven't found much success with it. I'll try it again at some point, but this just works much better. I'm very extra about my food, and I can taste when things are watery. Anyway, content update. So with Tangent, I submitted my tracks on the r/music making advice. I found some posts talking about how to get your tracks into playlists, get more views, blah, 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 blah. found some free resources, submitted my tracks, and we can go ahead and look at this actually stats here on Spotify for artistos. It worked. Short story, it worked. For the first time ever, I've actually got more than like the handful of plays that are from me and maybe some family or friends. There are 0 people listening, right? Oh, that's because that's my old profile. I don't know why this still exists. For the OGs, you may know that in my early music career, I actually did not go by Noel. I went by Cowbell. I almost regret it a little bit. I'll never stop saying this, but no, everybody thinks I'm NU-11. And I can't blame them because that's exactly what it looks like. I had to be extra, I guess, but because I used to be Cowbell and then I like went through the official process of changing it on Spotify to Noel, on my Spotify for Artists profile, I actually have 2 options I can choose from. I have Cowbell and Noel, and it's honestly annoying, but that's okay. So, what do we got? There are 0 people listening now to NU-11 Noel. However, we have had a 50% increase in listeners compared to the last week, which is like crazy. That was up by 6 people. Streams went up by 100%, by 10 actually, and followers did change, but that's okay. Followers are kind of, it doesn't happen on Spotify. It's like, eh. So let's go ahead and look. Let's dive into the stats here because, so I've had, according to Spotify for Artists, I've had 37 streams of Tangent. Spotify for Artists may not be the best way to look at this. We might probably want to do this on my actual publisher's website because I've noticed Spotify for Artists can be a little fucky sometimes. Like it doesn't quite get everything right, but I'll pull up both just in case. So I've had 8 listeners over 37 streams with about 4.6 streams per listener. It's been added to 2 playlists. It's been saved once. That's not, I've heard more. I wonder if this is over like the course of just the last month because I swear. Yeah, here we go. So it's actually in 3 playlists. One of them's mine. One's, I don't know who, it doesn't say who made these. One's called Songs I'm Actually Not Tired of Right Now. And then another one is just, what is this? A tangerine logo. I think these are probably friends or server people inside Tanger's server. So let's look at the stats from Rootnote, the publisher that I use, which I would not recommend ever. They kind of suck. Is that not where I usually see this? I swear it is. I swear it is. One second. I don't know where it is. I don't know where I saw these stats before because, so I know that's not right for a fact because it got added to some playlists that I submitted to. I don't remember the names exactly, but that's not reflecting on the Spotify for Artists page. So that's not right. But I'm sure, you know, it takes a while to update. Last 12 months. There we go. Okay. I had a feeling. It was filtering by the past 28 days. So it's actually at 103 streams, 11 different listeners. Everybody played it about 9 times. It's been added to 14 playlists. Holy shit. Damn, it's been saved 8 times. That's actually crazy. That's actually crazy. I didn't know that. That's kind of a lot of playlists, to be perfectly honest with you. Let's dive in here. fellas, folks, since 2015. There's a drop down when you're looking at like playlists for how far back in time you want to see. And there's like last 28 days, last 7 days, last 24 hours. And then the bottom one is since 2015 specifically, which I have no idea why, which also doesn't work. So that's weird. Spotify for Artists is a little fucky, I'll be honest. It doesn't work all that well. Whatever. It's not showing it properly, but hey, anyway, it works. So that's pretty cool. So submit your songs and stuff to free resources. Sometimes you can get in. For my case, I submitted to playlists that were similar to my genre, and I think 2 or 3 of them approved me. But 14 is crazy. That means a lot of people added this to their own playlists, so that's pretty cool. But let's move on from that. Tangent is doing good. As good as it can for something that that's new-ish, and like I didn't spend like a crazy amount of time on. I am working on some new songs. I think I mentioned this before. Got a new P. I got a new P, guys. I have a new PP. I have a new EP, the example EP that is just about 3 songs where I do vocals. I have a thing that I want to do. I don't know if I should say it yet because I have a bad habit of announcing things and then not doing them. But there's a song that I'm working on right now, and I don't know if it's going to be the 3rd track or not. I have no idea what order I want to do it in, but I really want to get. Should I say? I want to make a demo of it, which I'm currently working on. We'll see what happens. I would like to get a vocalist actually in there that isn't me for this one specifically. We'll see if it happens. I have some ideas, but we'll just leave it at that for now, and we'll see what happens in the future. Anyway, how far along are we? We've been yapping for about 20 minutes. All right, let's move on, little buddy guy, little fucky boys, to topic number 1. AI music production. Now this is just a little bit. I have to make these titles like small because I don't want to clutter all of my content with like huge long titles. But this is going to be referring. Well, it covers a lot of things. So let's talk about this. I recently started listening to a podcast called Better Offline. This was recommended to me by my brother. I like a lot of tech podcasts. I also love Distractable, which is not a tech podcast, but Mark likes to talk about tech stuff, which I like, and lenses, of course. Now, as far as podcasts go, this one is not extra special or anything. It's actually not very polished, but it's not really that kind of podcast. It's kind of like a hangout session where I just yap for an hour and people listen to it for some reason sometimes. But as far as like a produced proper podcast goes, I've made one before, not very long, but I like it. It's fun. As far as the Better Offline podcast goes, I think it's okay. It's interesting. I honestly, like, no hate, but I honestly don't think it's that great. I think the host is like kind of not that good at podcasting, but he is good at talking about engaging stuff and getting your mind going and getting you upset. So I think he does fine. But one of the things he talked about is how all this recent AI trend, this surge in AI in the past, 3 or 4 years, really this has been going on for about a decade, and we're at the tail end of it. So he's proposing, which I kind of think I agree with. The main point, which I'll just summarize, you should go listen to it. I don't remember the exact title of the episode, but it's Better Offline. It's a relatively new podcast. I think there's about 10 episodes or something like that. It's a 2-part episode. The first part is, Are We at Peak AI? And then the second one is The AI Bubble is Bursting. Again, Better Offline podcast by Ed Zitron. But to summarize a little bit, more or less what he's proposing is that we are not, the tech industry is really hyping up AI, over-promising, and then really making no deliverance on these promises. And AI is not going to be this crazy thing that controls every facet of our lives. And actually that we're already at the plateau of AI, especially generative AI, which is what's very popular at the moment. A good example of this is OpenAI's ChatGPT. I remember how big of a deal it was when we came out with the second model, and the third one, ChatGPT 2 and 3, was like really hyped up as this big deal, this massive leap forward. We're already to ChatGPT 5, and OpenAI even admitted on ChatGPT 4 that in multiple specific aspects, ChatGPT 4 was actually worse than ChatGPT 3. There were certain things it was better at than the previous version, and certain things it was worse at, which is generally not an improvement. There would actually be circumstances in which ChatGPT 4 would just not generate a response. It would basically just say, I don't know. And for generative AI, there's not a lot going on anyway. I mean, there's a lot going on, but there's no intelligence behind it. It has no idea what it's saying. It's all mathematic calculations trying to predict the most probable amount, the most probability, takes word put together, most probable way think person would say word. That's how ChatGPT work. I understand. So you can only go so far with that. They're actually talking about how if they want to increase the problems fix the problems that they're having, which this guy likes to refer to as hallucinations. I've never actually heard that. I don't know if that's the official term, but that's referring to where these generative AI will make things like people with extra hands or horrible disfigured faces, or as far as ChatGPT, just telling you blatant lies as facts. That happens a lot for some reason. He refers to these as hallucinations, but to fix this, they were proposing using another AI to moderate ChatGPT's output, which is just, that's crazy. And the bandwidth to power this is all insane. Like there's no way it's sustainable, blah, blah, blah. So AI is neat. It's not a real product. There's not a real use case for it 9 times out of 10. It's not sustainable. It's very interesting, but it definitely, it's probably going to be a fad that dies off. There's not a lot of places for it to go. I have to take a shit. Bye. Bye. Enjoy the silence while I poop. All right, I'm back. Did big bathroom stinky. What was I fucking talking about? Oh yes, OpenAI stuff. So Power of Editing has returned me to you. And anyway, so all of this AI stuff, when applying it to the music industry, has made some interesting results. About a year or so ago, we had some very early versions of music-generated AI stuff. The early versions were very uncanny and kind of terrifying. They were fascinating to listen to, but they were not really able to be listened to. Nowadays, and I don't know the exact process behind it, but we're getting eerily close. The stuff that's being spit out by this AI is not incredibly great. You can tell something's a little off, like it's horribly mixed. There's no mixing. The vocals sound a little weird, but I mean, it's a song. And a lot of them that I'm seeing on TikTok are AI generated country songs, which are pretty funny. I literally just watched one about a countryman being in a very sexual relationship with his truck as a country generated AI song. It was pretty funny. There's been this trend where they'll feed a funny series of text messages into the AI and have it turn it into a song. And it's weird. It's uncanny how it actually kind of makes it work. But as far as AI in music production goes, there are some things that have come around in the recent days that I have some opinions about. So first of all, every company under the sun is forcing AI into all of their marketing. All of it is bullshit. None of it really does anything. But it's a buzzword, and investors like it, and venture capitalists they get real hard thinking about it. But the big thing here is, for those of you that still use SoundCloud, you'll notice there's a feature that I messed around with just to see what it would be like. There's a mastering feature on SoundCloud, and I don't remember their branding name for it or anything. But supposedly it's an AI algorithm that will examine your song and then master it to your liking. And there are a couple different themes you can choose. I don't remember, but it's something like airy, warm, energetic, like you get to choose. And I tried them just to see what it was like. I barely heard a difference, if anything, and the changes that it were making were not good. So, yeah. If you ever use the AI SoundCloud mastering, please don't. And if you think it sounds better, it might sound a little better if the audio is real bad, but that's going to be a mistake. And it's hard to put it this way, but if that's making your song sound better, that means that you need to work a lot on your mixing and mastering, because the stuff that it's doing to it is not really improving it. It's just making it sound different. And sometimes it's just making it louder, which is not always a good thing. I've seen this kind of stuff across a couple different platforms. It's weird. It's very weird. Maybe at some point an AI could mix or master something. If I had to give it a chance, I would say the best way to do it would be to feed it stims. I could see like Ableton or Fruity Loops maybe trying. I don't think they would, because they're aware of how bullshit it would be, and no one who's ever using Ableton or these really massively famous DAWs would ever use an AI anything to master or mix their music. But I could definitely see somebody at Ableton who had no idea about anything, some of the big wigs at the top of the company being like, yes, let's add an AI that will look at each stem that you have, every track, analyze it individually, and master it. It's still not going to work, though. Like the basic problem with SoundCloud's attempt at this is you cannot take a fully realized song, a waveform, and then pick it apart and master that. That's like impossible. Mixing and mastering is at its core is affecting each individual stem and layer, which you cannot do with a single audio file. You kind of can, and this leads into some more stuff I'm going to talk about, because there are AI tools to extract stems, but again, those work only to an extent. There's some artifacting and some weird stuff. Anyway, so that I could see happening. I don't think it will. But AI in music production is weird. I don't think it has a place. I know a lot of people are very opinionated about AI. And everybody, all the big companies love that we're so at arms about it because it drives more attention to it and stuff like that. I was really fascinated when it first came out. It's kind of crazy that we've come as far as we have, but I think we're not really going to go much farther. If you've seen the video generation that OpenAI has for their model called Sora, it's pretty interesting, but there's no real purpose for it. There's no end goal. Apparently, they made a, quote, movie that was like a couple minutes long about a banana man or something like that, where every single shot is technically a banana man. And again, I haven't even watched it. I don't know the exact details. But in each shot, it looks different. It never looks like the same thing, which is the problem. There is no way to introduce consistency into AI-generated pictures or video yet. That's not true specifically. There is a way to do it with pictures, but that's using a data set about a specific thing. Or Stable Diffusion can kind of do this by introducing your own set of images, like make me look like this, blah, blah, blah. But as far as a man wearing a white shirt with a hammer will never look like the same man in every single generation of that prompt. So that's like the basic problem. But I don't think AI will stay around very long, at least not in the way that it currently is. I think AI has some place in some of these industries, like in help bots and stuff like that, in trivializing really shitty repetitive tasks. Like, that's what this stuff should be for, but we'll see where it goes. One thing that I do think is cool for AI and music production is what I mentioned earlier about extracting stims. That can be actually incredibly useful. I think that's a pretty cool use of AI technology. The thing with it is, like I said, it gets a little artifacty, and I did this in one of my songs. There's a track by Resin Grabbits called, oh my God, what was it? I mentioned this before. It was the first track I like officially really posted that I tried to do a quote cover of, which is hilarious to me. I don't remember. It really doesn't matter. I took this song, I fed it to the AI, and it spit out like Grabbit's vocals, the bass lines, the drums, and I learned a lot. It was actually really cool to listen to them isolated. I was able to learn so much. I would pay, and you have no idea how much I mean this, truthfully, I would pay so much fucking money to be able to get project files for artists that I follow and like to see how they do things. Because I learn by example, I learn by doing. You can tell me how to do something 10 times, but 9 times out of 10, I'm going to kind of go walk over to do it and figure it out and use what you told me as a general guidance because I kind of forgot it. I learn by doing stuff. I would pay so much money to see how people do their tracks. There's so much to learn, and using these stem extracting AI is actually a great way to do that. It is a really cool way to practice recreating songs that you like. And I recommended this before. I think it's something that everybody should do, is try to recreate sounds in songs that you like, and you'll learn a lot. You'll learn new things that you didn't know you could learn before. So I don't remember which website I used. I mean, this was actually a while ago now. This was like 2 or 3 years ago when I did this. So it may have come a long way since then. I mean, it may sound even better nowadays, the extracting, but I know some people will do that to make covers and remixes. They'll extract vocals from popular songs, which is pretty cool. That's honestly a topic that I should do for another day. I should like dedicate a whole podcast to it, maybe like do a more polished version of it. It may perchance, who knows? But like, I should really deep dive into the world of covers and remixes and legality and how to properly use samples, because I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand how you can basically just recreate a song that's been around forever and make a shit ton of money off of it with just like, honestly, not that much change to it. Just like doing a new twist on it. I don't know if they buy the rights or what, or I wish I knew. That's something I'm gonna have to look into, maybe do a podcast about, because I've never understood it. And it's why I kind of avoid sampling stuff and doing remixes or covers, because I don't get it. Yeah, that's it. We can move on to topic number 2. Plugins. So this one is not going to be a super long topic, and that's okay. I don't have too much to say here other than I want some plugins, man. Plugins are great. Third-party VSTs are the way to go. If you're a little producey guy in those DAWs, some of them got some built-in stuff, but it's not all that great. And some third-party plugins are just the juice, dude. They're the fucking juice. Here's what we got. For now, I got some plugins. They're okay. Here's something that I want to talk about. Holy shit. Last episode, I mentioned Waves, and I mentioned their, what's it called? I have it on my chain here. Their Clarity VX Pro, their noise removal, their reverb removal. They have a debreath, a de-esser. I am not a fucking fan, dude. I thought I was, and I'm not. They suck. They don't. Let me be clear. They don't suck. There's just better stuff out there. I endorsed Waves in a very simplistic way. I wasn't trying to be a fanboy, but I was like, if you're looking for a noise removal plugin, this Waves one is okay. Here's the thing. I learned some stuff about Waves. If this podcast was extremely popular and a lot of people listened to it, I would actually consider going back and editing out that part in that episode, or just removing that episode, because Waves is a horrible company. They are terrible, terrible predatory company models, and I don't like them at all. I learned this after the fact, but apparently, and again, I don't know the exact details, but more or less, they started having something to do with payments about, I think, previous plugins that you owned already were like, hey, if you want to keep using it, now you have to start paying for it. You have to switch to a subscription model. You don't have a choice, blah, blah, blah. And I don't even know if that's legal. And I don't know if that's exactly what it is. But it was, you get it. It was something like that. They're horrible. And they take advantage of everyone. And they will constantly they'll basically make you keep paying for something you've been using for years and squeeze a little bit more money out of you as you go. So Waves, terrible, terrible predatory company. If you are going to do Waves plugins, I would highly endorse acquiring those plugins. If you know what I mean. I think that would be the best way to do it. So, that said, let's talk about alternatives, because here's the thing with that Waves plugin for noise removal and the de-reverb. They are okay. They work fairly well. The audio that you're listening to right now, my room's pretty quiet. I try to isolate my space as much as I can for recording, so it's not terrible. However, these plugins are putting in their work. I showed last time what it was like turning all the effects off, but what the fuck is Waves doing, bro? The amount of CPU usage that these plugins are gulping down is terrifying. It's horrible. I did this when I was on a call with my brother when we were talking about this plugin. And also, hi Josh. Hi. Hello. How's your day? I turned this on, and we watched in Ableton in the top right, it has a CPU, it spits out a CPU usage stat, and it bumped from 9% up to 30. And to be clear, my CPU is old. It's an i7 something. It's not great, but it's a 6-core. It should be fine. Here's the thing. This same brother that is also listening to this right now, hi. We tried this on his computer, or he did, because he tried this plugin after I recommended it. Well, that's not true. He had it beforehand. Anyway, his computer is much better than mine. He has to use his computer professionally for editing very resource intensive stuff. So he has a decent computer. I don't know the specifics. I think it's like a something super. I don't know if it's a 3080 or a 2080, but like it's decent. I know there's 4090s and shit out there now, which is wild. I'm just waiting for the 5080s or some shit to come out. But even on his decent rig, it was doing the same exact thing, which is insane. That's extremely concerning that this plugin could pull that much juice out of your system on a decent computer. I was actually having problems streaming last time I streamed because of these plugins, so I will not be using them. Thankfully, the same lad that I was on a call with hit me up and was like, hey, have you tried Isotope, the Isotope suite? And let me make sure I'm getting this right, because I'm like, I swear it was the Isotope suite. I don't want to get this wrong again. But he highly recommends, and I haven't actually tried it yet, but I'm going to wink wonk acquire the Isotope suite and see how it is. Yes, he said, I got Isotope RX today, the full-featured advanced version. It works perfect, and so far, some of the tools are way better than their Waves counterparts. He did say some, so I have no context here. I haven't tried it, but I am excited because this CPU usage bullshit is insane. I can't keep doing this. Also, the de-esser and the de-breath that come with some of the Wave suites that you can get are so old. You'll see if you ever have them or use them, the UI for these VSTs look like they're straight out of 2005. Like, they're dated. And that definitely means that these plugins are like, they could be better, you know? So I will update you on these things in the future next time, but I'm going to try Isotope RX. I really want to get my hands on FabFilter Pro. I know I never have, which is insane because everyone uses FabFilter Pro, but you know, it's also a shit ton of money for some reason, but it is really nice. So I kind of do understand. But we'll see if we can make that happen as well. Anyway, I had to get that out there. Waves, bad, no, bad, no use Waves. If you're going to wink wonk acquire programs, don't get Waves. Go for something else, and I'll update you on this. Hopefully Isotope RX works out. We'll find out. I'm going to go rapid fire mode because we do have a bit more to get to here. Here's plugins that I've been eyeing that I would like. The Isotope RX suite, of course. FabFilter, like I said. Sausage Fattener, which is a fantastic name for a plugin, which I'm sure a lot of you are aware of. Just want it. Why not? It's a fun little plugin. It's pretty good. Xfox by Neuro Audio. I kind of forgot what this was, but I believe it's like a general vocal enhancement plugin. Like, you have a little knob for adding some air to your voice and stuff like that, because I'm trying vocals. I'm trying to do them in. Oh, yeah. For those of you who are watching on the video podcast on my YouTube, look here, look at this bad boy right here. We have our XLR mic that I've had, for so long, and I didn't know what I was doing, and it's kind of insane that I got this because it's not a scam, but it's not good. This is the Harlan Hogan VO1A, which, if you say that to a hardware nerd, which I'm aspiring to be, they might not know what you're talking about, because it's kind of, I'm like 90% sure that this was, I wouldn't say it's a scam, but I don't think this mic was like really custom made to specifications by this guy. I believe Harlan Hogan is a voice actor. I was really into voice actors a long time ago. He was like, this is my mic. Buy my mic. It's great. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. And I really shouldn't have. I should have gone with something better, but I was like 16. So, you know, this motherfucker was like $300 or $400. Don't tell anybody that. It's not worth it. Like, what the fuck was I thinking, bro? It's okay. I've had issues with my audio interface trying to interact with this guy. That's why it's not hooked up with my XLR cable, and my USB AT2020 from 2013 is still being used. Which, by the way, while I'm on the subject, this thing, which I've said this so much, is still alive. I don't know about Audio-Technica products in 2024, but I've had multiple pairs of headphones. I've had this thing, the cans. Man, Audio-Technica is a great company. It's a great company. I use this USB AT 2020 for vocals in my songs, which is kind of sacrilege, which is also kind of why they don't sound so good. That's kind of the part of the problem, which is why I'm going to try and get this Harlan Hogan VO1A working again so that I can get some better vocals. Because I have a feeling that's my big issue. I'm so close to getting the vocals in my songs where I want them. I'm so close, but currently it's not there. And there's just like, there's something there that's making it not sound right. And I'm like 90% sure it's a combination of background noise removal, and the fact that I'm using a USB mic, which is just in general not the play for vocals. So we will see. As far as podcasts go, I mean, shit, this thing sounds fine. It sounds good. Do your ears like what they're perceiving? But Scalar 2, I think I mentioned this at some point in the past. I don't know, music theory. Scalar 2 is a great way to help me with that. So really excited to pick that up at some point. Swiss Army meter, if you don't have it, bro, you gotta grab it, which this is me. I'm talking to myself because I have not grabbed it. Grab it. Unrelated. Grab it. Haha. It's $8 on some website. Maybe it's Sweetwater, who knows. But it's a great little plugin. Monitors your LUFS. There are free alternatives, but I just like it. It's nice and compact, so I'll pick it up at some point. Deep Blue Glitch. I have this written down. Google. That's a topic for another day. Better Offline podcast by Ed Zitron also has an episode about Google search and how it's become very bad in recent years with search engine optimization, SEO, blah, 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 blah. They're trying to increase the amount of clicks and queries and ad and tricks you into click ad, making search worse and take to find what you want to find take longer now. Very bad. But this is really true. I will not go off into this. Go listen to his episode about it. It's fantastic. But I typed in Deep Blue Glitch music plugin into Google. It does not get simpler than that. I was having trouble finding whatever this plugin is supposed to be. And maybe it's user error. Maybe I didn't type it down right, the name of this plugin. But I don't think I did. Google is becoming real bad, man. It's the search engine is becoming not unusable, but it is taking an annoying amount of fucking with it to find what I want to find. I don't know if there's alternatives, which is the part of kind of the problem when you're like the leader in the industry. Like, I don't know if Bing is better than Google search, but anyway, I digress. Yeah, that's about it for the plugins right now. And as far as, I didn't mention this, but if I can't get the Harlan Hogan mic to work, I would really love to get the Shure SM7B. It doesn't get more basic than that, unfortunately. Like, I want to get a different mic to be extra, but there's zero reason to be extra. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just get a good XLR mic. It could be anything. If it applies to like what you're doing, of course. All right. Topic number 3. Live feedback. Not me giving live feedback, but me receiving live feedback from a little feller on YouTube known as Dripment. I seriously doubt he'll ever find this, but he's got about 6.81K subscribers. Excuse me, 6.81. That's exactly what I said. But smaller channel, I like his content though. I don't watch it all the time, but I'm a lurker. But he's got this really great idea where he does every Monday, he'll do live track feedback for works in progress or finished songs. I don't know if it matters. If it is work in progress songs, oops, because I sent him a finished song. Maybe I didn't realize it was supposed to be whips, but it's really cool. He has a whole thing where he'll take, I think it's 15 to 20 tracks, throw them all into Ableton, throw some analyzing like ozone image viewer. That's another one I would like to get as well. And just take a look at them, give some feedback. And it's pretty cool. I don't know his history. I don't really know anything about this man. I know that he makes some pretty good music, and he really does seem like he knows what he's talking about. He seems like he has way more producing knowledge than I do. So it was really nice to not only see him vibe out to my music, but also hear a lot of feedback. So I thought what I wanted to do was just kind of go through this step by step, talk about things that he had to say. So if you're listening to this in kind of a calm environment, it's not going to be one of those anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and play this segment with my song in it where he was critiquing it and just kind of talk about the feedback and stuff. So I'm going to have to record this on OBS so we can get like the audio from YouTube. So give me 1 second here. Okay, sorry. There's a lot going on today in my recording space, but we're good to go now. So I think. So we're going to start recording here. This should be fine. If not, this whole section will be removed. But I've got this pulled up here, this video, and we're going to go ahead and just kind of go through this. It might take a little bit of time, so this episode may be a little bit longer today. We got some stuff to go over, but we're going to go ahead and just go through this entire feedback section. We're going to listen the song through. So here's your warning now. If you're not ready for a lot of loud drum and bass, that's unfortunate because that's going to be coming at you fast. So here is Dripman's feedback from his live track feedback live stream streamed 5 days ago from the point of recording, which is May 4th. So here we go. Let's take a listen.
I've never seen you with Tangent. Look at this cover art.
I fucked it up. Sorry. Let's try it again. Let us listen to this now. Aha.
NU-11. I've never seen you with
God damn it. I swear. I can't blame anyone for this, by the way. I cannot blame anyone for calling me NU-11 because I had to be extra and make Noel spelled all weird. So I truly am going to suffer from the dead mouse problem where everybody's like, Dead Mouse 5, dude, which I still call him that, which there's no reason to. I'm pretty sure he said multiple times it's Dead Mouse, but alas, anyway.
Tangent. Look at this cover art. Very nice. Spicy orange, mad orange, angry orange, with maybe Optimus Prime as human. Okay.
Yeah. The no guy is Optimus Prime, ladies and gentlemen.
That's very nice. Let's go. Wait. This is like...
He got confused a little bit here. I don't know what he was talking about. He's like, Tang. Is this Tang? I don't know if he was talking about Tanger and maybe he thought it was Tanger. I don't know who Tang is, but that's okay. We'll just skip ahead past this
Please,
part.
someone ping Tang.
Yeah, I'm thinking about this. I could actually show the video version here of myself. My camera's way down here. Hi, I don't have it properly set up right now. It's supposed to be up here. For those of you watching the video part, I guess I could include this. My camera's supposed to be positioned very differently than it is right now. But you know what? We can just throw it up here. Why not? Hi, here I am. just so we can watch along. I can use this video. I don't think that's a problem. We're just going to go through the entire song. So there's going to be everything here. So this will take a minute. So buckle up. Also, if you're seeing this, is because this is for like my streaming setup. So, you know, in the corner, all that. But here we go. This would be much more better for the video version of this podcast. But here we are.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mark.
No one said anything about that, by the way, about hello, everybody. My name is Markiplier, which was not in the final version of the song, because as you guys know, my publishers did not like that. Also, there's supposed to be a live chat replay, but there's no live chat replay, and that makes me sad. That makes me sad, because I know there was live chat, but oh well. Shit. Oh, my light. Fuck.
Let's go.
The shit's kind of fire. I did do pretty good. Damn. This camera's much better than mine. The energy is crazy. Jesus. Tangent, ladies and gentlemen.
Bro, what in the Sam Van Houston is going on? Talk about energies. I wasn't even trying to dance. I was just listening to the song, and it made me dance.
Thank you, King.
Why did it make me dance? Well, drum and bass, first off, is a beautiful thing, right? The speeds are so high, energy so high, and it, like dynamically, the way we're moving between like silence and loudness. I mean, you can visually see the dynamics here. Let's listen to what they feel like. Oh, nope. Wrong track. You can't see shit.
So it's funny, when I was watching this, I was like, this is kind of first time that I've ever seen someone react to, I'm forgetting, this is the first time I'm actually using two active cameras at the same time, so I really need to be looking at this one, to be honest, since we're probably just going to have this up right now. This is the first time that I've really seen someone like actively listen to my music that I don't know, who can appreciate the music because they are a producer. That's really cool. I'll be honest. It's really, really cool. And to have somebody be able to understand it on a level that is much higher than mine and be able to submit feedback is just, it's insane. Also, looks like our chat is working again. Sadly, no comments about the song in the chat, which is sad, but that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. No comments about the piss pre-drop. Not a single word. No one ever said anything. So I think that's hilarious.
So like these you could consider like a fill section, and the way we're like going back and forth between loudness, quiet, silence, just it's very intense. And things like this make you stop listening to the song and you just start feeling, because things are happening so fast. You just can't sit down and just listen to what's going on. You just have to feel it. And
this made me feel good. I'm not gonna lie. I try not to. I am so uncomfortable with being confident in myself. But I mean, man, things like this make me feel good. I'll be honest.
that's a good place to be in dance music. Overall,
Also, his methodology to giving feedback is fantastic. He starts out with a lot of compliments before he starts like getting into the nitty gritties of like, here's what you can do to improve and all that. So props to this guy again.
song, like there's a lot of different samples flying at you, a lot of different sounds. It becomes pretty like congested in some sections and almost too much. And I really think that it would benefit you greatly if you start simplifying the drops to a point where you find that perfect balance of hellish insanity and perfect simplicity and harmony. While
This is a fantastic point. So this is kind of something that I've had in my head, bouncing around in my head for a while. And I'm glad that he talked about this, because I don't know if someone else had mentioned this to me before. I feel like someone did. But this is a thought that I've been thinking for a long time now, is that I've been doing exactly that. If I sent him one of my older tracks that was a part of the unreleased Starclad EP, what's the name of it? Concilium. If I sent him that, it would be this sentiment times 2. That track, man, I had so much to learn. The high end is super congested. There's samples, all like it's too much. When you add too much, it assaults your ears. So this is something I'm really going to try to take into the upcoming tracks that I'm working on, is actually resisting the urge to just shove everything in. He mentions later, you'll hear it, that it's kind of like my style is almost like reminiscent of Complextro a little bit, I think was what it used to be called, which is kind of true. I see that. I think it's honestly just stems from like me as a person, and my ADHD is just like constant insane chaos is kind of, I take that in my producing as well. But this is definitely something that I agree with, that refining would improve a lot. So it's fantastic feedback.
Maintaining the speed and the dynamics that you are, overall sub can be fatter, you know, the sub bass can be like thicker, and I think you should post-process that in a way to get fatter.
This is lots of thoughts about this. So first of all, I think he has a fantastic, I think his content around this stuff is fantastic. The way that he has kind of like a short form, it's about a 2-hour live stream giving concise feedback, but not going into detail. Now, of course, I wish that he could take this track, break it down, and demonstrate how you would go about fattening up the subs like he's talking about. But I've had this sneaking suspicion, and I've talked about this many times, where like, I don't have studio monitors. These V-Moda crossfades are old. These headphones that I use, they're not really producing headphones. My 2010 Toyota Prius, it has, it has the Bose audio system in it. None of these are fantastic ways to objectively judge mixing and mastering. I need some like studio cans that I can use, which I don't have, and that's something that I want to work on. I have an equipment list that one day I will get. I want the oh Lord, I'm not gonna find them. It doesn't matter. I need some proper headphones. And for post-processing bass, there's something that like I've always had a sneaking suspicion that my bass notes are not hitting like they are in the songs that the reference tracks that I'm listening to. And I don't know why. I've never known why. I'm going to look into this a lot more, because like I was saying, feedback like this, where he's not necessarily getting into the nitty gritty and showing you how to do what he's saying, but he's just letting you know, here are the issues that you could work on, I think is a fantastic form factor for quality, concise feedback. So that's really great. And I don't know where I'm going to go with that. I'm going to have to like look up some tutorials, things like that, all stuff that I can improve on in time. But this is it. It's so validating, to be perfectly honest, because I've been thinking these things in the back of my head, but I'm isolated, you know. I don't have a voice of reason in like the producing music space for these kind of things. So I've thought this for a while, but I don't have anyone to listen to my track and be like, yeah, no, you're right, this needs work. And having this is like, I need to thank this guy at some point, because this could be a big change for like the quality of my music in the future, just from feedback like this from this guy. So let's keep that going.
But I'm really impressed by just how many different sounds and different main respaces and main, like, there's just so much going on. So when you get to the end of it, you would have to run it back, because you guys would be like, yo, what just happened? You know, it's almost like listening to a crazy rap song back in the day where he spit 3 verses and all of them are so crazy, and you just had to run it back because what the hell just happened? Like, this is brand new. Like, I'm pretty sure you didn't play any of these sounds.
He's right about this, by the way. Kind of. I have like a set of Serum presets that I use a lot. I'm always getting new ones, but I have a set of like Serum bass presets. However, I am like, one of the biggest methodologies that I have in the music that I make is I don't like repetition, which I think is becoming fairly obvious for him. But I don't like reusing the same samples. I like everything to be different. And that's just how I work. That's why my music takes so long to make. And it's true. There's very rarely the same samples. Well, that's not true, but like the same sound as you move on. And like that part that he played where he's like, this sounds new. It totally is. All of that is new stuff.
Yeah, so you just start bringing in new sounds all the time. This is a section where like the sub bass feels pretty weak. Yeah. Sub bass is much better with these sections. Yeah. That shit's clean, man.
That right there, like that is it doesn't get more simple than that. Is like feedback. It's that one phrase.
That shit's clean, man.
That hits, man. Right there. That feels good. And when I was making that specific part right there, with that kind of jumpy bass that cuts out right at the right times, with that vocal sample in the background, I was thinking the same fucking thing. It was flow state moment. I was like, man, this is so clean. This sounds so good. I leaned over to my fiance. I was like, listen to this. This is fire. It's cool that people agree, man. It's very cool.
There are a lot of these breaks, though, and intermissions. I don't know if you hear this whole stream, but you don't want to always be breaking it and intermission it. You have to, like, you know, slowly sprinkle those in. They're very...
This guy is really good at this stuff. Small channel, but this feedback is like one of the things that I struggle with, that I have to work on a ton, is composition for my songs. I don't plan them out at all. I just spit it out as I go, which is a problem. But he's so right about this. I am obsessed with fills for some reason. Don't know why. I love those D&B almond break fills. But he's right. I do a lot of those. And a lot of songs that I'll listen to will have a steady flowing bass section for a good like 3-4 bars, and I'll hit a 1-bar progression and then hit it with the fill like right away, which he's right. I need to dial those back a little bit, I think.
Very, you want to keep people dancing as much as possible. Reference drum and bass tracks. My favorite drum and bass artist is Camo Crooked. They are just so...
I actually meant to write this down. Unironically, I'm going to write this down real quick because I wanted to check this out. Oh, I did. I did write this down. I just never fucking followed up on it. That checks out.
Almost impossible to replicate. So you should just look at the wizards that do drum and bass right now and reference how you can structure your drops and do song arrangement and phrasing, and how you can do those extra tricks to add more energy, because you can benefit from that.
He's right. I've said this before, but that's 101. Learning to produce 101. He's very correct.
This is good, but there's a lot of different things that can be taken to the next level. And remember, simplicity will make things sound heavier. If there's so much, like you have some samples that are like punch samples, like straight up, and like all kinds of random samples. So
he doesn't know that was the gimmick of this song, but it's true. The whole point of this song was using the Tanger snare pack. That's why I even made this, of which one of those samples is the literal meme cartoon punch sound effect. So he's right. There is a fucking punch in there. But man, whoops. Bought the mic there. Sorry, guys. But yeah, wow. What solid feedback.
When you're trying to like stay cohesive and trying to catch a vibe and stay in the same vibe, a lot.
Also, it's not surprising that, a music producer would have really solid audio quality. But do you hear this? This is like almost podcast ready shit. His mic sounds great.
Those random flying samples kills that. So just be careful. There's an old genre before EDM trap and before this dubstep, and it was called complextro, and it was like house music where it just threw all kinds of random sounds at you all fast and stuff. And this is what it reminds me of. That sometimes can be good, sometimes can be bad. Like I said, find a perfect balance between those things so that you can keep people lost in the sauce. Good job though, man. It's fun.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dripman. That's some solid feedback, and we'll cut it there because we didn't get much after that. But man, this was fantastic. I see there was one comment in the chat here, but it was unrelated to my song, so we'll cut it there. Definitely going to be coming back to this, so we can stop this recording now. Switch back to camera number 1. What's up, y'all? Definitely going to come back to this failer and send him my new tracks, get some more feedback, but like W in the chat. All right, that took a little while. We're almost wrapped up here, folks. But man, if you're producing, if you're making music, you're still starting out like I am, try to use resources like this. Find places to send your music, get people to talk about them, learn from it, actually take this advice. I'm glad I went over this multiple times, and I'm if I can force myself, which I'm really going to try to, I'm going to go back and I'm going to annotate these things that he said, notize them, write them down, and kind of have this just in the back of my mind up on my second monitor while I'm producing, just so I can remember this stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to a close here, to a section that you will all know and love. Questions section. All right. You're not going to believe this. For the first time in the Null Sector podcast history, ladies and gentlemen, we have a question. Now, I theorized that, I think I've been bobbing my camera around a little bit with my knee against my my table. Sorry. I theorized that by episode 40, maybe we'd have some organically generated questions. Technically, this isn't one of those, but man, is it cool to have something for this section. So today, our first question comes from Layla, also known as my beautiful, amazing 10 out of 10 fiance. Oh, look at her blushing because she's right next to me. What a cutie. Layla has written in and asked 4 questions. Zam. Question number 1, she says, what are your goals for the future with music? Example, do you want to go on tour? Do you want to do live events, etc., etc., etc.? She definitely said all of those things at the end as well. Great question, Layla. Goals for the future of music. I think I've talked about this briefly before, but I would love to be a hybrid content creator and music producer. I just love drum and bass. I just love bass music. I love vocals. So I just love to keep making more, I'd like people to gain a following around my music and just keep making it. Do a bunch of collabs with artists that I like. Pretty much it, If I had a goal, I don't know, do I want to go on tour? Obviously not yet. But I mean, I don't know. This is something that I've pondered again and again and again. I see artists, I talk about this guy a lot, but it's because I use him as a metric to judge, how do you make it in the music industry making these types of songs? And I know Nate Eliminate does a lot of, I don't know if you'd call it on tour. I think he is going on tour, actually. Don't quote me on that. But I know he does perform, or at least play his songs. And this is something I don't understand. I don't know how this works. Doing a set, as they say, up on front, the stage, the big DJ mixing table in front of you, just kind of jumping around, vibing to your songs. I don't really know if they're actually doing anything with all of these juicy looking hardware pieces, by the way. I love them. But what do you do with that? All of my songs are finished, produced fully. I don't, the only thing I would walk up and do and hit play and just like basically dance with the crowd, which would be fun as fuck. I'd be nervous as shit, but like I would do it probably. I don't know. I would love to interview someone one day about that kind of thing. If I could ever get some of these people that like I follow on the podcast, that would be insane. I don't yet. Maybe one day I would reach out or something. That would be super cool. But that would be a question I would love to talk about. Interview people about that kind of thing, because I have no idea. Don't know how it works. It doesn't quite make sense to me, but sure, I'd be down. That'd be fun. I know this is one way that artists make music. Making a living as an artist, if you don't already know, what you probably do is extremely difficult. You're not going to get really a sustainable living amount of money off of just making music. Primarily the way that content creators and music artists make music is off of merch and touring and performing and label deals, stuff like that. Which when you're starting out with like little to no following, you're not gonna have. You're not gonna have that for a long time. And I don't make money off of anything that I do. Well, that's not true. Technically I do, but I think over the entirety of my discography, I've made $5, which I will not be able to ever get my hands on until I made something like 60 or 90 is when I'm able to cash it out. Years and years in the future, probably. But we'll see. We'll see about that stuff, Give it time. Learn more. Second question, do you have a schedule for uploading content? I sure do. I don't follow it at all. I briefly talked about this at the beginning of the podcast, but it's been a struggle. It's been a real struggle. I have a day job, as most people do. Very few of us are lucky enough to be able to do this kind of thing for a living. Maybe one day, that's the dream. Nowhere near that. I actually like my day job. I don't like going to work, but I like my day job. But it requires a lot of hours. It's hard out there in modern America when they don't pay us very much. So I'm gone for something like 13 to 14 hours a day in total because the drive's pretty long, and then I do like 10-hour shifts or a little more than that sometimes. So I'll like wake up at 3 if I need to get up real early. Usually I wake up at like 4, and then usually I won't get home until 4, sometimes 5. So like doing that sometimes 6 days a week, because sometimes I'll come in on every other Saturday. That's a lot of time away from being able to do hobbies and content creation, and it leaves me with very, very little energy. There's a lot of shit going on with me. Got ADHD and a bunch of other things, so it makes making content consistently very difficult. I would love to, but we're going to have to iron that out over time. I'm trying to be lenient with myself because I know it's not going to happen overnight. But as far as the schedule goes, I would like to. If I can just maintain a podcast episode every Monday, I'll be happy for now. Every other Monday, I'll be happy. As it goes forward, I would love to do 1 video a month just to keep it very simple. If I can manage that, then maybe we'll do 2 videos a month. We'll see. Question number 3, will you be uploading more TikToks and Instagram Reels from your streams? Interesting. That's a good idea. I looked into some services. Actually, believe it or not, in this same email that I have you guys submit questions to, I actually got an organic email, which it probably was sent by an AI, probably. But I got an email called Team, lowercase, no punctuation, just titled, or from Team, with the title of About Your Podcast on YouTube. And it was supposedly this guy. I still am like, I don't know if this was a real person that sent me an organic email, but they're like, hey, try my app, bro. Try my app that uses an AI tool that allows you to create viral shorts from any YouTube video in seconds. And you can use it for free to test it. I did. It was interesting. It's a little like, it hurts my soul a little bit. What it does is it watches your video, transcribes all of your audio to text, uses AI to analyze the text for what it think would make interesting shorts, and then edits that together into a short form vertical video with like subtitles and emojis. It does all this for you, and then you basically just download it or post it. And maybe there's even ways to auto post it. They want $25 a month for this, by the way, which that's a lot, bud. That $25 a month. It's not a bad idea. I'll be honest. I'm actually considering it. I doubt this guy is ever going to hear this, but if your product was $10 a month instead of $25, I may not have even questioned it. I may have just immediately been like, sure, let's go for it. 25, that's a little too much. 15 is a middle ground, but 25 is like, I'm really gonna have to think about it. I would almost rather do the editing myself than pay $25 a month. That's a lot. But if you watch Instagram Reels, if you watch YouTube Reels, if that's what it's called, YouTube Shorts, depending on what is being catered to you and your algorithm, it can be a little, how do I say this? Not brain rotty, but like, I don't know a good word for it, but it's very content creatory, like not clickbaity, but it's every YouTube short, at least that is pushed to me that I can see, is always like, I get a lot of comic book ones, like comic book story summaries and like tutorials for music stuff. So like I'll just a YouTube short will start and it'll be like, this is how I make my bass with blah blah blah, and like the YouTuber voice, and like it has like this really chaotic, bouncy, vibrant subtitles with kind of cringy emojis flashing every night. It's a lot. It's something that when I look at kind of makes my soul drain from me a little bit. But this is what this clap.app, that's what this is called. That's what it does. It does those kind of intense texts and the emojis. And maybe you can edit this stuff. I didn't look into it that much, but I'm considering it. I say this because I don't know if he does this, but the guy who did our feedback a minute ago, Dripmint, I noticed he has some YouTube shorts like this. And I actually wondered if he uses this service or something very similar, because his shorts are often titled like how I make this kind of bass, how you make a bass that sounds like Rez, that kind of stuff. And when I don't often watch them, like I said, I don't actually watch this guy's stuff that much. I mostly just see him in passing. But when I watched some of them, I don't know, something felt weird about it. Like, yeah, it was technically related to the title, but it really didn't get like the full point or like the finished product. I don't know a good example, but I know one that I watched recently was like, this is how you make this kind of bass. And it was kind of cut together. It never showed the end sound of the bass. It never showed it utilized in a track. And it didn't even really show all the steps. It kind of felt like an AI took all of this and threw it together with some text over it and then called it a day. And the biggest sign about that is that it just kind of cuts off almost mid-sentence of him talking at the end without it really coming to a resolution of his topic. And that was just like kind of jarring. I was like, well, I felt like I needed a part 2, but there wasn't one. And that makes me think that this may have been like an AI generated thing. So that could be one reason why maybe this kind of stuff isn't great. But to be fair, I've been bouncing around these thoughts in my head the whole time. I'm trying to bring it up here. Even though, like, that's the product that it spits out, if that's what he's doing, to be fair, these shorts that he's posting are still getting like 700 views, 1.1K views, 1K views, 1.6K views. I've had a YouTube short get that much like one time, but yeah. And yeah, all of these are like how to do vocal processing, how to make a heavy sustain bass, like blah, 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 how to serum for dubstep beginners, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I can't say for sure. And I feel bad if he's actually, custom making these things himself. I'm not sure, but that's some feedback I would have for him, actually, if that is the thing. Just, trying to make sure that the shorts aren't just cutting off without really like showing the finished product. But I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll look into more of this kind of thing. The thing is with content creation, like the end goal is to grow your platform, to get more people involved, to create a community. The bigger you get it, the closer you can get to like having that community and people who can enjoy your content. And if making it a career is something that you want to do, making it a living, that's also a motivator, that kind of stuff. So we'll see. I will look into this. If I can spare $25 a month, maybe I'll try it. I don't know yet. Probably not yet. Probably not for a while. But having that consistency when posting, even for YouTube shorts, is a pretty big deal. That's pretty important. So, we'll see. We'll see. I'll think about it. And if I think what I'll do is if I can start consistently posting YouTube videos, I'll think about using this thing as a sort of way to get some YouTube shorts out there. And then they're all the same, right? TikTok, Instagram, Reels, YouTube shorts. If this thing will auto-generate this for me, I could post all of them. I don't know. We'll see. Question number 4, last question that Layla has sent to us. Have you uploaded any any YouTube shorts as well. Oh, well, I guess I just talked about that. It wasn't exactly related to her last question, but I have uploaded some YouTube shorts, and I won't probably continue to do so. I don't have much. I've mentioned this before. I say that phrase a lot. I'm not a big fan of social media. I don't like it, man. I wish I could just not do it. But unfortunately, you cannot divorce social media from the music industry in 2024. They are hand in hand, so you really do need to do both, unfortunately. So yeah, I'll do YouTube shorts. I'll do Instagram reels. I think I'll do TikToks. We'll get there. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it for podcast questions. We will see if we get more in the future. That'd be real cool. Here's something that I thought about. I always say like, hey, send it into this email. We do have a subreddit. Technically, no one uses it. I post on it sometimes. If you'd rather post a question to the subreddit, after this, I will go and make a podcast question flair that you can use. You can ask your questions there too. That's fine. I'll check over there as well. But let's get out of here, boys. We've been here for a while. So, like I said, 4 questions. If you'd like to send in a question, comment, or feedback, I will talk about it on the next stream. No matter what you want to say, we'll go over it. If you prefer to be an old man like I am and use an email, you can send an email to nu11sectorpodcast@gmail.com. In the subject line, all that I ask is that you put whatever you want to be for your name, a dash, and then podcast question. That's it. And then you can write whatever you want in the body of the email, hit send. We'll talk about it. If you'd prefer, you can go to the subreddit, which is, oh my God, what is going on with my Reddit? Why does it look like that? I'm not signed into my goddamn Reddit on my computer for some reason. You can go to r/NU11_sector. I know it's annoying, but for this one specifically, there is not a dash in NU11. It wouldn't let me put that for the subreddit name. So, but if you prefer, you can go there and you can leave. You can use the podcast question flair and ask your question there, and we'll go ahead and talk about that in the next podcast as well, whichever's easiest for you guys. All right, y'all, it's that time. Thank you for the immaculate vibes and for hanging out with me. I'll see you next week. That's not true. I need to update this outro. I'll see you. Well, actually, this time I will see you next week because we've got an episode coming out next Monday because I waited so long to post this one. So technically, yes, I will. As always, you can find the audio version of this podcast on Spotify. Anchor doesn't exist anymore. Spotify absorbed Anchor. So just Spotify, Pocket Cast, and most other streaming services. You can find the video version of this podcast on my second channel, which is NU-22. Keep an eye out for all my other forms of content. I'm pretty much on everything as NU-11, NU_11 official. The list is there if you want to see them. I will see you guys this coming Monday for our next episode. No idea what it's going to be about yet, but we'll get there. I kind of like to start doing kind of like a newsy stuff, being like, hey, did you hear about this? Yap, 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 that kind of shit. All right, that's it. See you next Monday. Love you guys. Peace out. Bye.
NU-11. No.
Sector Podcast.